Hello everyone, it's Chris here. I got Ian from In-Home Trainer Ottawa right here, my good friend. Okay, and he is an active aging specialist. Okay, and today he's going to talk about lower back health. All right, there's like something like 75 or 80% of the people, the workforce has lower back pain. It's a huge problem, and I'm going to turn over to Ian. He's going to tell you all about it. Okay.
Chris, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for making time to meet with me today. This is a tremendous honor, and I'm really happy to be working on this video with you. So let's get to work and let's do a video that people can benefit from.
Excellent.
All right, here we go. Okay, so the first exercise I'd like to demonstrate, there's an exercise called the Angry Child Pose. The Angry Child Pose is a yoga derivative exercise. The idea being that it's going to give a little bit of relief from stiffness and tightness in the hips, and it's a great way just to stretch out the muscles of the lower back. So I'm going to give a demonstration. I'm going to hold for about 15 seconds.
Good. And why is it called the Angry Child Pose?
Believe it or not, Chris, it's based on something where for the parents out there that have had kids that have had temper tantrums, they tend to bang on the floor like that. Yeah, it does happen. And yoga's been around for 3,000 years, but parenting's been around even longer. So that's where it comes from. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah!
Exactly. Exactly.
I love that, man.
Yeah. The second exercise I'd like to talk about today for lower back is it's another yoga derivative exercise. It's called the Sphinx, and I'm just going to settle into a posture here. Please note that it's important to keep the feet together. The idea behind the Sphinx, Chris, is it's meant to sort of just release some pressure on the spine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you have any questions?
Yeah. So does it matter where you place your elbows, your forearms?
Well, the idea is to have them just slightly above your shoulders, and then you go according to what your body will allow you to do naturally. Everyone has different flexibility, so the idea behind this, it should be a very gentle movement, and nothing should ever be forced, and it's just a question of finding a position that you're comfortable with. And the recommended time for most of these exercises would be about anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And would you repeat that a few times? Or?
This can be done. The idea behind it, there's a medical term. It's called unloading the discs, and this is something I learned at the Canadian Back Institute a long time ago, and I found it very effective in my own recoveries. I've been in some pretty serious car accidents, and I attribute this exercise as being one of many exercises that help me maintain a certain quality of life.
Good,
yeah.
Good.
Okay. So there's one more exercise I'd like to show you. It's called a cobra. Okay, the cobra is another yoga derivative exercise, and there's a couple different ways of doing it. Placing your hands way up here for those that are just starting out allows for a very, very gentle stretch, and it tends to emphasize the thoracic part of the spine.
Okay, and for us laymen, what exactly is the thoracic? Is that upper, lower, or?
Well, the back is kind of divided into three parts. Cervical refers to the area around the neck. Thoracic refers to the area that would be the middle part of your back, so you're quite right about that. Okay, and then the lumbar would refer to the lower back as you're working your way towards like the hips and the pelvis. Again, this is something, it's a very gentle exercise, and depending on your flexibility, you can start off with something very, very low like this, or for someone who's got good flexibility and they've been practicing this for a while, again, keep the feet together.
Oh, there we go. But the hips are always in the ground.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And by bringing the hands a little closer to the shoulders, there's a little bit more emphasis on the lower part of the spine. This definitely affects the lower lumbar. And again, that term I was using before of unloading the discs and releasing pressure, I find this to be very, very effective. And again, it's very, very gentle. The key here is to go according to what your range of motion is, in terms of natural ability to move.
Yes.
And my first rule for any type of warm-up or any type of a stretch, it should always be gentle. It should never be painful. If you start to feel any pain or discomfort, please stop immediately.
Right.
Chris, there's one more exercise I'd like to share with you, an exercise that I found very effective, and you don't need any equipment for this. Some people call them hyperextensions, and some people call them Supermans.
Oh, I've done those.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So Superman is a pretty straightforward thing. However, the way I do it, because I find it more effective, instead of going like this, like what we used to see on TV, I tend to bring my hands back closer because I find everything is a little bit more in line, and I find it allows me just to target that lower back, because the lower back muscles, that's where a lot of people have their pain and discomfort. And doing something like this is done for repetitions.
Okay. And your feet stay on the ground?
My feet are together and they stay on the ground.
Oh.
And then by bringing myself up, there's a bit of a tension there, but it's a good tension. And again, I'm just going according to my range of motion.
Excellent.
As I descend, I'm going to breathe in. As I ascend, breathe out.
Oh.
I would recommend anywhere from 10 to 15 repetitions. This can be done throughout the day. If there's ever any discomfort, from being seated for a long time, for people that work in front of a computer, or if you're driving.
Yes.
Very, very effective. And the beauty of it is, this can be done almost anywhere, and you don't need any equipment. You don't even need to do this at a gym. It can be done at home.
Yeah, that's quite different than the Superman the way it's usually taught. Because usually when you do it, it's kind of like this with both hands out, and even the feet will raise up. Like
I've seen that variation. The reason why I do what I do is this was an exercise that was taught to me in physiotherapy, and the importance that was placed was that what we want to do is this is an exercise that unloads the discs. That's the term I was talking about, that sort of relieves the pressure. But I find that by isolating the lower back, this is something that really targets the muscle. You can really isolate it, and when I come up and I hold that, I feel it, and I feel it in a very positive way, and I find that it makes a big difference as I go through my daily activities, just in terms of posture. So, for example, if I find I'm doing a lot of driving, I don't get that travel fatigue as often as I used to, and that's very interesting, because as time goes on, we start to feel the effects of time. But this is one thing that hasn't really haunted me, but I've been very consistent. I've practiced this for many years, and again, it's made a huge difference in my quality of life.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks again, Ian, for sharing with us your knowledge about lower back health and active aging. Okay.
Chris, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's a tremendous honor to meet with you and to work with you, and I'm so grateful. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again.
You're welcome, Brent.